Hey all friends, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and I thought I would just kind of do a last video, just round off what I'm currently doing, and what I've currently been doing with Pantheon. If there's anything you want me to cover in the future, then please let me know. I'm not. I mean, I have to confess, I'm not really a fan of covering games that that are not out yet, that you can't play and make your own judgment on whether what I'm saying is correct or not. This channel is fairly calm. We don't get a lot of nonsense going on. But when you do a video on something that people have got a financial investment in, or for some reason they've got some celebrity investment syndrome in the developers or whatever, it kind of brings out people that watch your videos, purposely interpret them the wrong way and say you're saying something, even when you clearly said what it was that you meant. I'm not perfect, sometimes I'll say things and I'll get it wrong, or maybe it wasn't clear enough. But covering games in development like Pantheon, that no one really knows anything about yet, it just brings out the fanboys, and I ain't got the energy for that. I just can't be bothered. And I think I don't know if you can see it, but I've got two things running at the moment. I'm currently sitting on the green server as on my enchanter in the corner there. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to a few people have asked about a guild, so I'm just going to petition and see about making a guild on green. See how that goes. See how many people join and whatnot. Whether it's worth it or not, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, just to round off, I was playing EverQuest yesterday. I was in a dungeon, and one thing that came to mind. This is that bit that I was telling you about. I mean, in this bit here, the player is fighting can you imagine being level 1 and killing a level 3 mob in EverQuest on P99? Level 3, yeah. So he seems to have some really OP hill over time as well. But then I guess looking at it now with like reevaluating eyes, I guess maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe the start of the game here, the introduction of the game is going to be more forgiving, and you can kill mobs 1 or 2 levels higher than you without any problems and carry on going. If that's what they're aiming for, that's great. That's certainly makes the game easier for me. So what I was talking about before. Oh, interesting! Look, that there's a little mushroom icon there. That I've seen that icon in Project Gorgon. It makes it easier for me as someone who plays MMOs currently as I do. But I'm hoping for that to change drastically when Pantheon comes out, because I'm hoping to be in like a different, a better situation. But just going back to something that, as I said, I was playing EverQuest yesterday in a dungeon. Something that came up, and it's something that makes me. It's a thing that makes me think that I find it difficult to take certain comments seriously with regards to defending the death penalty, when there are systems in the game that are going to probably have a much bigger impact on modern. I'm not sure what a modern MMO player is, or a player who enjoys playing modern MMOs, maybe. But instancing is that when I was in a dungeon yesterday is the thing that I was thinking of, or lack of instancing. Now I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if anyone watches any of the guides or dev watches, let me know. I would say that the issue that the P99 guides deal with the most with regards to conflictual problems with players will be camps and training and a lack of instancing. Now, I'm not advocating instancing. I play on P99 where there isn't any, and I love it. So, but I do. It does make me, as I said, it does make me feel that someone defending a death penalty change or watering down is just being, generally, not everyone, but there's just a huge dose of fanboyism going on. Because the reason for that is that you want to attract people who are playing like a more modern MMO, more up-to-date MMO. They don't want those inconveniences. Those inconveniences will put them off. Well, I I feel that a lack of instancing will be a much bigger issue to someone playing modern MMOs who's used to playing them than a death penalty will. I mean, can you imagine someone who's used to playing them on modern MMOs going into a dungeon and finding someone comes in, starts to killing their mobs? Maybe there's one or two people there who are just generally numpties. They'll be training them. Just conflicts, arguments about camps, having two camps, but one group starts pulling from somewhere else. What constitutes a camp? How long do you have to be there? Do you have to be at the camp all the time? All these kind of things are going to put people off more. That I feel personally, and it's only a personal opinion, of course, but I think that that's something that will put off someone who's used to a modern MMO more than a death penalty will. Because the thing is, people talk about a death penalty in EverQuest as though it's like the end of the world, but the game was so well designed that there are ways around it, and like someone said that I got the impression they didn't like, well, they called it begging when someone dies, and you're begging clerics and necromancers and stuff to help you. Well, I think you kind of completely missed the point of EverQuest. That's the whole point of it. That was Brad's vision in quotation marks. That it was about interaction. They wanted you to interact with someone else to get your corpse back. You call it begging, like Brad called it player interaction. But the game was also designed brilliantly. You weren't just left. The whole point of spells like resurrection. A rogue that can sneak, locate corpse, summon corpse, and stuff like that. The whole point of them was to lessen the pain of a corpse recovery. Obviously, not everyone would have access to those if you weren't in a guild. Someone like me, like when I die in EverQuest, I never get a res. I just take it on the chin and go and get my corpse and loot. Because that's just because I'm generally haven't been in a guild, don't have people to call upon, and I kind of don't really like calling upon people. But that's just me. But EverQuest didn't just leave you in the lurch. It had a harsh penalty, but it gave you options if you needed them. But my point is that I feel that instancing is going to be a much bigger issue to someone who the game might be wanting to try to attract, who hasn't played this type of game before. And I think if you're arguing that the death penalty's fine the way they've done it, but you haven't got a lot of reservations about instancing and the effect that that's going to have on the game, I kind of feel that you're just picking and choosing to slap the developers on the back, essentially, because if you're worried the death penalty is going to put people off, a lack of instancing will do that times 100. We've all been in situations. Even as solo, but I've sat in a dungeon and I've seen people arguing about camps. I've been in guilds before, believe it or not, where the people in the guild have been not arguing amongst themselves, but they're talking about they're in a group in a dungeon somewhere and someone has come in, and it's not as simple as picking out and saying this person's in the right. Generally, each group's going to think they're in the right. So then what do you do? And then what is that player going to do? What is that player who's used to playing WoW Classic? It's going to be a real shock. What are those players going to do? I just think that that will be a much bigger issue for modern players. Than corpse recovery. And if you're arguing about corpse recovery being something that you like the change of because it's going to attract play. I kind of get the feeling also, as well as just saying what the developers want them. You just saying what the developers want what they want you to say. Essentially, is that you're just picking things that you don't like, that you want changed, but you're kind of not looking at it as a whole. And I think if you've got a problem with death penalty because it's an out of date mechanic. I would say that non-instancing is much more out of date with regards to what the people currently playing MMOs want, and I think that will be the acid test for the game, whether it succeeds or fails. I just think that will be a much bigger problem than any corpse recovery ever could be. The people playing WoW, even WoW Classic or whatever other MMOs are currently playing, they don't want to be arguing with other players about camps. Don't know what the spawn time is. Oh yeah, but they don't want to be going in a dungeon. Say the spawn time is in dungeons 20 minutes. And someone's killing their mobs and they're not gaining any XP. That's going to be the thing that will, I think that will annoy players more. I keep calling them modern MMO players. I don't quite know what I'm referring to, but I guess players who don't play P99 didn't play it, and they wouldn't play it because of these kind of things. Yeah, but it just feels disingenuous and fanboy to be arguing a point that you feel will make the game less successful and less modern, but then look at something like non-instancing and not think that that's going to have a much bigger impact. Yeah, and not argue against that as well. But then I guess that's where the developers currently are. Maybe when they change their tune, if they ever maybe change it to put some instancing in, maybe that player will then change as well. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, I was just in a dungeon yesterday. It was something that I thought about. I just thought that I found there was a certain amount of just a large dollop of irony that someone was arguing about a mechanic that they thought was archaic and wouldn't be attractive to current MMO players, but then because the devs are currently going with the non-instance thing, that was okay. Weird, or maybe not. Anyway, thanks for watching.